I have this thing working. I apologize, everyone. We're running a little bit late today. Had some technical glitches with our regular restreaming service, so here we are. All right, so this week's topic, right? It's part 2 of 2. Last episode, we took a look at 3 ranges of combat and just some general principles, right? Today, I want to focus on the long staff, right? Bojutsu, the Rokushakubo, the 6-foot staff, whatever term you use, right? So if you saw the slide that I had out promoting everything, right, we're looking at overcoming the disadvantage from the staff's reach, right, from the staff's range. And that can throw people off, right? What do you mean disadvantage, right? The advantage of a staff is what? It's reach, right? It's reach, right? I'll just grab my notes here, make sure I don't miss anything, right? So the benefit or the advantage that you get, right? The longer the weapon, farther away from me I can make contact with this person, okay? So, but again, this is where students tend to focus, right? They tend to focus on this distance thing, okay? So I want to take a look at 3 things here because we're going to relate these things to kamae, right? Our postures, right? Our combat postures. So I'm going to draw 3 little guys right here, right? That's a nose, right? So what most people are used to seeing, right, is this longer range kind of reach from our art and other arts that are like this, right? There's some differences when we start to look at them, and I'll take a look at those in a minute, right? But what we have is this long range kind of thing, right? And actually, backhand is going to be right here, right? So this thing's going to be even farther out. Now, I know it looks a little bit more disproportionate, but the average height of a Japanese warrior during the Sengoku Jidai Warring States period, when this stuff was put together, was 4'2", okay? So think about, long staff. A lot of people can't not clip the ground, okay? They can't fathom moving a 7, 8, or 9-foot spear, halberd, or whatever, right? But the people that developed it, right, a 6-foot staff, right, it's about that tall for me. But what would it be for somebody who's 4'2", right? Okay. Meanwhile, martial arts supply places are selling youth stabs, which are actually a Joe, right? So anyway, so we've got this long range kind of idea, right? And then, so this is striking, right? Okay. Long range. Let's just jump right into the ranges, and then we're going to take a look at some ways to kind of make this more effective for us, okay? So long range, right? And then we've got this guy, not that he's shorter, his legs down here, right? Okay? Same idea, right? He's got the staff centered between the hands, okay? So this range, pretty much kamae, right? We're in Seigan no kamae, we're in Daijodan no kamae, whatever, right? Okay, this is guarding. Okay, this is guarding, right? Mid-range. Okay, what about close range, right? I'm going to start with this guy, right? So I'm just going to put close range for the moment, okay? Okay. What about when somebody moves in really, really, really close? What happens, right? So here I'm reaching and getting him as far out as possible. If he's closer to me, I got this thing going on, right? I can still hit him. That staff is still just outside of punching and kicking range, right? I can shift my knees, reach a little bit more, so it's going to give me a little bit more of a bubble to get it, right? Close range, right? What's going on there, okay? So close range is like, oh crap range, right? This really is a problem with long-range weapons, okay? One of the things that my students have to learn for second-degree black belt, for first degree, I want to see evasion. I want to see ukemi. I want to see them being able to roll, all that kind of stuff, right? But what I want to see is that they can take advantage of the openings, right? So here's a problem, right? The advantage for this guy is range, but the disadvantage is also range, because the closer somebody gets, to the staff wielder, let's make the same picture here, right? The closer they get to the staff wielder, the more the staff wielder has a problem. Striking ends out here or here, right? So now what? Okay. So what ends up happening here is we're probably going to be hitting him with the shaft of the weapon, okay? Because he's in close, so I'm going to be hitting him this way, right? So it's going to look like, I don't know, Robin Hood movie with the staves and things like that, right? But of course, this is Whiteboard Wednesday, so we're gonna jump into something else, because what I want to take a look at is the overcoming the range difference, right? If this is the ideal part of the staff to strike with because it's the place with the greatest torque, the greatest power, that kind of thing, because of leverage and control and all that, right? It's not that I can't hit him with the you know, the stick this way. It's not that I can't do that, but I don't get the same kind of power, right? I don't get the same kind of inertia coming out there to knock this guy out, okay? So we have an issue, right? Because if the bad guy moves into here, right? Okay? So let's depart from this for a moment, right? I'm going to come back to that guy. Remember these two, okay? The long-range striking thing, everybody's got that, right? Or at least should have, right? The mid-range stuff is really predominant. In my own training career, when I was in karate schools and things like that, different styles, right? Where we trained with the staff, we typically held it and then struck this way, right? So we didn't get that much extra range, okay? So let's take a look at 3 differences that we get from the Togakure school, our primary ninja school, that is missing from most Japanese staff school, or schools that deal with the staff, okay? It's not that things didn't get absorbed over time. I'm talking historically when things developed, right? So most staff systems still play this mid-range kind of thing. So the staff is a force amplifier, but what we want to do is take advantage of everything we have, right? So there's 3 differences, right? And of course, I'm not taking into account all martial arts, right? All systems, right? So people shouldn't get their panties in a bunch, right? That they always do, right? I post these videos, right? Everybody wants to jump out of the woodwork and tell me how that wouldn't work, or that's funny, or this is some kind of joke, or whatever, right? Here's the thing: if we fight like everybody else, then your opponent knows exactly what you're going to do within a variant, right? Within a close margin, okay? You can only be so tricky. There's only so many things you can do with a human body, so many things you can do to a human body, right? And if everybody's doing the same thing, then now what do you have? You have to be faster, you have to be stronger, you have to be trickier, you have to be younger, you have whatever, right? Okay? What if you don't have those things? Okay? How about if we just approach it differently from the beginning? And I don't mean style differently. I mean, like, not just because we're evading, but the timing of the evasion. Not just that we're striking certain targets, but where and at what's the best time to strike the target. Same kind of thing, right? So the 3 differences, right? And again, this is based on Togakure Ninjutsu, right? But here's the thing: the 9 schools of the Bujinkan, as soon as they got absorbed into these things, they all got influenced by it, okay? So you can separate them if you want, but what you're doing is stripping away all the extra benefits that they got by pulling the best of out of all these things, okay? So three differences, okay? First one is something called a sliding grip, all right? And I don't mean we're walking up and down the staff and those kind of things. I mean, as we move the staff, the hand loosens up enough and that staff is able to slide out for a greater range, right? So we're at the very end of the staff, holding near, you know, about the quarter to third mark kind of thing. So we've got most of this staff out away from us. Okay, 4 or 5 feet of extra distance beyond what I would be able to strike with, right? So, and again, it's for retraction, all kinds of things, right? So we're not stuck. Our hands aren't glued to the stick, and we're not doing, this kind of robotic movement if there's movement at all. Okay, there are some kung fu styles that use this. There's some systems out there that use it. As a matter of fact, ninjutsu, budo taijutsu, ninpo taijutsu, whatever you want to call it, right? Really, really close to certain kung fu systems like Chin-Na and some other ones like that, right? But anyway, there's a sliding grip, so that allows us to adjust range. Hold on to that one, okay? Number 2, the staff stays in motion. Okay? One of the primary skills, right, that students get right up front, it's a kihon no kihon, right? Fundamental of the fundamentals is this bo futi, right? This staff turning. It's either turning horizontally or it's turning vertically. It's either lifting or it's dropping, but the staff stays in motion and then the strikes come from that turning. So it's not stationary, and we're not doing block, strike, blocks, that kind of thing, right? It stays in motion. And the reason for that is we're not just protecting ourselves, we have to protect the weapon as well. And a stationary weapon is a target. Just like if you remain stationary, you're a target, okay? And you're easier to hit. Not that you can't get away, not that you can't block or whatever, but now you're forcing yourself to be faster, okay? Just like if you fight like everybody else and you go up against somebody who's bigger, stronger, whatever, right? You're gonna have to be stronger, at least as strong as, but what if he's bigger and stronger already? He already owns that advantage. You can't be stronger than you already are. Well, under the adrenal response, you'll be a little bit stronger, but we have to be careful with this, right? Okay, so the staff stays in motion. And the third big difference in the Togakure school is that it allows for striking and grappling, okay, while holding the staff. Okay, so yes, we have striking with the staff, we have grappling with the staff and all that, right? But the Togakure system of using the staff allows for, right, punt, just let go, right, with one hand, strike with the hand, kick, right, catch a pressure point, whatever, right? So it allows for other skills outside of what most people think of as stick fighting. Okay, when most people get their head wrapped around stick fighting, they just think about using the stick. One of my teachers, I'm going to borrow one of these things here. I know it's not a stick; it's a bokken, right? But he made fun of this kind of mentality, right? He'd go, "You want to see stick fighting?" And he would either throw the stick on the ground and back off and start swearing at the thing, like "I'll kick your ass," whatever, or he'd pick it up and he'd go, "You want to see stick fighting?" He said, "How you like that?" Right? It's not stick fighting. It's a fight that involves the use of a stick as a tactical or combat aid. Okay? Ninjutsu is full of these perspective shifts. Okay? Because again, if we think about the problem, if we think about the system or the style, or if we think about fighting the same way everybody else does, we're going to do it the same way everybody else does. And if we do it the same way everybody else does, we're going to get the same results. Or we have to hope for the best, right? Okay? Way too many people get involved in fights with the idea of, well, let's see what's going to happen. Well, let's see what's going to happen. Okay? All right. I really hope that this is all staying in, right? If not, I'll take a picture of this and make sure it gets clipped in or posted or linked to from things. I apologize. I'm doing a major workaround here going live on YouTube, but I don't know what the framing is and all that. Again, the streaming service kind of bailed on me today. So anyway, right, so the three big differences. A sliding grip, so we're not locked in just, doing this kind of thing, right? The staff stays in motion because we have to protect the staff as well as ourselves, or protect the staff while we're protecting ourselves, right? And it allows for striking, kicking, grappling, and all that while you still have a hold of the staff, okay? So yes, we could do the striking and the grappling and all that with the staff, but also, let's say I move, right, to strike, he shifts, he drops under that and moves in, right? There's nothing that's going to stop me from just delivering a knife hand, right? Just let go of the staff, hit him, and then I can re-grip or whatever, right? I might kick him, whatever, okay? So you get these three benefits, right? So we remember that, right? I want you to hold on to, for this lesson, I want you to hold on to that one, that sliding grip, okay? All right, so before we move on, right? Hopefully you can see this little guy over here. I'll shift this just a little bit, just in case, right? Hopefully you guys can see him, okay? Right? Got this little guy over here. You know what? I'll make him more centered so that everybody can see him. Hopefully this just puts everything more, again, the nose, right? So let's quickly take a look at a couple of the ninja's combat postures, right? Kamae, right? Body, mind, spirit, attitude, right? It's the body's reflection of what's going on in the head and the heart, right? Between intention, strategy, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay? Not the same as stances. Not the same as stances. I've done some other episodes on the difference between stances and kamae and things like that, but just for a quick recap for everybody so you don't have to go fishing, okay? Stances, dachi in the Japanese language, right, are typically named after the position of the legs, okay? So you've got nekodatsu, cat stance, horse stance, you know, it's named after the position of the legs, okay? Kamae is named after the position of the upper body, right? Specifically the limbs, jumonji, ichimonji, that kind of thing, right? But in ninjutsu, that gets broadened out to the whole body. The body, mind, spirit, attitude, kind of thing. So not just the limbs, but everything, okay? So we have kokoro no kamae, right? Kamae of the heart, kage no kamae, shadow kamae, where you're doing one thing with your body, but your intention is something else, and that baits him in because he believes that one thing is going on. Then when he comes in, you do the thing that you had planned for, okay? Not so easy for folks that tend to focus on things. And I know people use the term kamae a lot because that's what they were taught. But by and large, most students, even in this art, 80% or better of students, think about their kamae like a dachi, like a stance, right? It's just a launching point, like a cannon for evasion and delivery of techniques. It doesn't go beyond that, okay? But it really, really does. So let's take a look at a couple of kamae, okay? A couple of kamae. Just two, as a matter of fact, right? So we're going to do this one, okay? This is called Seigan no kamae, right? Staff is actually a little bit longer, okay? Seigan no kamae, where it's centered on you, the tip of the weapon, right here, touches a line. So you draw a line from either your nose or your eye, depending on the lineage, right, to their eye, okay? Eye to eye, okay? Seigan means true or correct eye. And then you touch that line with the tip of the staff, okay? So what it does is it breaks up their ability to stare you down. It forces them to look at your weapon, but the other big thing that it does is this angle disguises the length of the weapon. If the bad guy knows the length of your weapon, let's say we're in Tenchi no Kamae, where the thing is vertical, it's right here. He knows how long it is. As soon as he knows how long it is, if he's good, he knows what your range is. He knows what your maximum range is. He knows where your close range gaps are, right? Those kind of things, right? It's the same thing with your Kamae, right? When I'm in Seigan this way, it disguises the length of my arm, okay? Same thing with me being 70% of my weight back here, right? Changes everything so he doesn't know how tall I really am. He doesn't know what my reach is. If I do something like this, right, he can start to know if I have it like this. He can see the length of my arm, those kind of things, right? So they're very critical angles, right? In Gyokuryu, it's like this, okay? It's a very odd angle for him to figure out length. There, it's even harder. This is like the sword kamae, ichi no kamae, right? Disguises the length of the sword. Really, really important, right? Gives you a tactical advantage. You don't give away shit so that he can kick your ass with it, okay? So anyway, so we have this Seigan no kamae, and then there's another one. Okay? The staff is slid back. Actually, this tip right here is still on the eye line. You're gonna have to sink lower, right? But this is called Gedan no Kamai. Gedan, lower level, right? It just happens to be behind you, right? Why would you put a freaking staff behind you? Well, it's if you're facing off with somebody and you're backing up to create range, you don't know what's behind you, right? So it acts kind of like a blindman's staff. Again, it also hides the length of the weapon, that kind of thing, right? But it gives you a chance to check out, to make sure you're not going to trip over something or whatever's behind you without taking your eye off of him. Because the moment you take your eye off of him, he's going to kill you. Okay? So these two are the important, come on, right? So let's go back to Seigan, right? Base Seigan. Just do it like this, right? Base Seigan, okay? If we're looking at striking with the tip, the working ends of the staff, not having to bail out to anything else, okay? That's really what this class is about, okay? So we've got the working end here. So basic Kamai, right? This basic Seigan is pretty much where your arms are. You know, if we change this to Jodan no Kamai, right? This kind of thing, right? Okay? So your hands are centered, right? But when we use that sliding grip, right? We use a sliding grip, then we get this extra reach, right? That striking range. Remember that? Okay? Striking range, long range, striking range, right? If I have it in Seigan, okay, and I move it, I slide down to the end so I get this extra reach, it's just an extended Seigan. Just because this is out here farther doesn't make it not a Jodan. It's still Jodan. It's just where I am on the staff itself. Okay? So we've got long range. We've got mid range. And if you were paying attention with Gedan, we've got close range, okay? So, I'll be right back. I have this one specially marked. Got a tip out here, so you can see where it is, right? So, if I'm striking out, see where my hands are? All the way down here, okay? Striking out this way. If he's closer to me or he moves in on this one, as he moves in to attack, right? I can shift and shorten by using that sliding grip to engage him here. If he moves in even farther, right, I can back it all the way down to this Gedan, see it? All the way down here to hit him, right? But the secret is in the sliding grip, okay? I know you can't see all that, I'll just try to be up here, right? So from here, sliding out, okay? Here, 1, 2. Back to centered, that's it, back to centered, 1, 2. Okay, there's a sliding grip so I can change range. So from here, I hit him, boom, he staggers, I'm back out at long range again, okay? So, some other class we'll talk about the striking and all that, but, right, on our Fridays, right, we've got this Friday virtual training where we can actually dive in and do more of this stuff, physical, you know, you can see actual physical examples and things like that. So if that's something that's up your alley, great. If not, you can start playing around with this idea of shortening the range, right? Instead of getting stuck all in one place or always only ever thinking about, right, the distance advantage, okay? So this is like, tell me if you know what this symbol is. You know this, ne? Okay? So we can't ever forget, just like when the staff is turning, right? If I have it turning where it looks like it's lifting, it's actually dropping as well. Because it's lifting in that direction, but it's dropping in that direction. So lifting, all I have to do is change the orientation, and now it's rotating it's not rotating the opposite direction. It's always rotating the same way. On one side, it's lifting. On the other side, it's dropping, okay? So the point is, you need to recognize that something can be an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. And if you're only looking at one, but not looking at the other, you only have half of it. Okay? You only have half of it. All right? So 3 ranges. Hopefully that was helpful. If you want to jump in for some extra training, onlineninjaacademy.com/Friday-virtual-training, right? It's an hour and a half class this Friday, $4.99 US, right? Jump in. Even if you can't make it, right? You're still going to get the recording, right? The whole class is recorded. So we're going to take a look at changing these ranges on the fly so that we can go between them based on where the attacker is. And if there's time and the students in class really catch up on things, right? We might take a look at that third part there, that third difference that I gave you, right? From the Tobacco Day School, where we're actually punching, kicking, and doing other things with the staff while using the staff, okay? Instead of hyper focusing on the staff and then, you know, letting other opportunities go to waste. All right, that's it. Again, for those of you who follow me on a regular basis, if you're normally over on Facebook, those kind of things, I apologize. Streaming service crapped out on me today, but this is our quick workaround. Hopefully everything recorded properly, everything's in frame. If not, okay, I'm going to end up taking a picture of this. So, well, I'll do up some other little work things and whatnot, upload it to our secure server, and make sure everybody has links so that you can see little things that we're working on. Okay, we'll make up some worksheets for you. Okay, that's it. Talk to you again next time on Warriors Whiteboard Wednesday. Be safe, train hard. I'll talk to you soon.